you also want to remember in the inaugural speech, the president said, I will unify the foreign exchange rates. Is this a backdoor? I mean, I've got so many things I want to ask. Is this a backdoor? Just like, the fuel petrol subsidy situation. It started with a backdoor. He came out, he said, I peeped the budget and the past administration has told me subsidy is gone. And he started like the marketers were the ones playing us the more you look, the less you see. And the next thing, NNPCL says, you know what? Our prices are gone up. What do I know? But good evening, Mr. Ignatius Chukwu. It's good to have you back in the studio.
Thank you very much.
You were enjoying my introduction.
Yes, I was praying you go on and on because you have made my job easy.
All right.
Because you are actually saying the right thing, especially your preamble, which is to say that even how are you is an economic statement.
Yes, it is.
So, and that means that citizens ought to be a bit more economically conscious in what they do. And if citizens are to behave like that, it then means that our leaders will also behave like that. So if you are doing a road, what are the social benefits? What are the economic benefits? If I am pulling down a bush to put a road, environmentally, what's the value? Economically, what's the value? Am I destroying value to create value? Or am I creating value on top of existing value, making double, triple values? So when our governments begin to think that, when our leaders at all levels begin to consider and care for economic value in their day-to-day actions and speeches, I think I like that kind of slogan. Let's all be thinking that way.
All right, then. So let's get into the conversation proper now. I'd like you to first of all help us understand what it means to devalue the Naira, because this is not the first time we are getting to hear about devaluation of Naira. Under the previous administration, the Naira was also devalued a couple of times. So can you explain what does it really mean to devalue the Naira?
That valuing and devaluing is actually meant for a relationship and interaction with other countries. It's actually a foreign affairs policy.
Okay.
Because if your currency were to play the original value meaning, which is giving value to productivity in your entity, if it were the only role available, okay, I have orange, what should be the value of that orange? Money will come and decide the value of the orange. What the classical thinking used to say, what it took you to produce yam, and that's why they say time is money. What it took you, the labor and time it took you to produce yam, and the labor and time it took me to produce orange. So we work it out. Whatever it took me to produce yam, that time, it means the value of yam produced within that time should be equal to the value of orange produced within that time. These are elementary things. But when you are relating with another country whose currency is not your currency, so at the point two currencies meet in the international market at the border to shake hands, the value at which one currency will relate with the other will become the exchange value.
Okay.
Not the one of, between me and you, we're exchanging our goods. My orange and your yam. Money will now be the referee.
Okay. And for us to be able to count costs properly, we would have to know what's the value of your Naira and what's the value of my dollar. I see.
So when there is a shift to the negative for any of the currencies, you will not say it's a devaluation. But something happens. Some economies claim that they are free market economies where values rates are supposed to be determined by the market, not by fiat of government. So if your government fixes value rate of their currency. I hope you know that World Bank is always against it.
Yes, of course, I've heard that.
They play what they call that free market economy, where they say allow free trade, allow free value. So those who attach values to their currency,
like Nigeria,
So when the time comes, there will be need for you to adjust to accommodate present realities. So when they claim that when your currency is too heavy, and that heaviness is not backed by goods,
like
and
by productivity,
then you see that the value is not true value. So what they now tell us, devalue. When you devalue, they assume that when you devalue, your people will say, okay, if I was going to import the same thing, like African, all Africans have the same products on international market, the same agri products, or have processed or unprocessed. So if a man is producing yam in Ghana and there's yam in Nigeria, the person, when Nigeria devalues its currency, the number of yams you will buy with $1 from Nigeria will be more than the number of yams you buy from Ghana.
That's when Nigeria sets and fixes the
when
value.
You devalue,
okay,
because the buyer already knew your value. When you devalue, the person that will feel it, the outsider will now know that he will get more goods from you with the same amount of money he was using before. So he will be, all of them will like to buy from you. When they buy from you because you devalued, they will say, to buy from Nigeria will make more gain to the outsider. So he will not like to buy more. So what they will tell you is that because you devalued, you attract more patronage from around the world and sell more and earn more foreign exchange.
But is that the reality? I mean, that's textbook.
That's what they tell us.
Yeah.
But our people here say, if your economy is an economy that exports only oil, the price has been fixed. That you devalue your currency does not attract more oil buyer customers. Have you seen? So in economics, every theory has to depend on another thing, and that's why they will tell you all things being equal. So to make it short, what I say that when we devalue, the Nigerian exporter we sell, we make less money by selling, but hoping that
it will sell in more quantity,
volume.
Yeah.
What about if that volume doesn't come? Which means you are selling 10 tons of yam. You see, sell only 10 tons of yam, but at less price now because it has been devalued. So you must study your economy to know whether your devaluation will help you. So that is by the way. But what is important to we Nigerians in the statement they made and whether they devalue or they didn't devalue is that if the value of your currency is always fixed by government, by fiat, it means that the price, the rate will be there as said by government. That will create a black market scenario because it is said by government, and that price will come out, which will not be a black market price. So if in Nigeria, if dollar is 750 and government fiat value is 461, then what is really the value of the Naira? Because if there was no government fixed value, the Naira would always have one value. But because of fixing, when you interfere with the value, then another value, the Naira will create its own value at the back, which is what people now call black market. What is
so black market is the original value.
If you ask me,
if you want to look at
if
it from an economic
interaction, if you are talking about demand and supply, whatever the two forces agree at the back without government watching, that's the black market value. But it looks like the true value. Now, another market, I hope you know that the official market, which is the government market, the official market has up to 3 windows. I hope you know that there is a price they give to those going on pilgrimage.
Okay.
Which is still the same government window, but under it you see a sub window that is for pilgrimage. I hope you know the other one that they give to say, okay, concession to manufacturers, to bring plant and raw materials. They give them their own rate. Under window.
They give students.
students and medical care. Okay, you are flying out for health. You are not going to make money. I beg, give them one better value. So knowingly or unknowingly, over 3-4 windows exist in the fixed rate, not one. Now you now come to the black market. That one is as you like, between you and Malam, as on I like. So the result now is that in trying to regulate the exchange rate, you have created a multiplicity of rates. So the president on inauguration day say enough of all those plenty windows. So what people don't understand is that the pronouncement of the president amounted to devaluation.
Just like petrol subsidy.
Exactly the same. That's why I say you have already said it. So without saying you have, the moment you say subsidy is gone, the meaning is what? Price deregulation. That is to say, import at whatever price you like and sell to whoever wants to buy from you at whatever price. And that's why NNPC now being limited, NNPC wouldn't have done so under when they were comparing. But at that time, NNPC was both a regulator and also a seller, importer, seller, regulator, which is what all of us cried over the years that they should do one. So the NNPC Limited is another company that will be declaring profit to government. Simple. So that is why they didn't fear to put any price, because they say we are now a limited liability company. That informs it. So those who are still looking at NNPC as their brother, as a government property, NNPC has for once now let us know that they are a limited liability company. So they did what they did. So coming to central bank, when you told the central bank that now all those windows you created there, I don't recognize them, what it will now mean is that dollar will now sell at one price. So if as we said, if the lower window is 461 and the highest window is 750, it means that the new rate will be can never be the lowest, which was of course, and it will surely not be the highest, which means it will be between 4 and 7. You know that the middle is around 6. So what has done that the Naira has taken a natural value within this.
What are the implications now?
The implication will be that the private sector, or those that used to get it at 750 under black market, now if they see it at 4, they gave the banks at 461, 431. No, 461. Yes, they gave the banks at 461.
461. Okay.
So when they gave it to them at that price, what it means is that the banks will now add money and sell to their customers, which means the real value now will be whatever each bank that bought at that price, whatever they sold to you as the final consumer of the dollar. But so if you say you are a manufacturer, instead of you to get at the manufacturer's rate before, those were privileged rates.
So no more privilege.
That's what that statement means. But you see, such statements, what some of us are saying is that while those things are correct, what would have happened would have said, we are going to look into all this. We are going to look into fuel. We are going to look into fuel subsidy. We are going to look into exchange rate. When you say you are going to look into it gives you a chance to now go and work it out. So by the time you come out with your policy, it will address all issues.
All right. Okay, we'll go for a quick break. When we come back, more conversations.
On your talk station, the conversation never ends.
Let the person walk, we will vote him. You see, the person doesn't have to even tell us to wait for the godfather to take him again.
You carry your files entering where? Who won't give you job?
But I mean, some people have succeeded. Unfortunately,
so let's not lie.
No.
Yeah, I want mine. Golden penny noodles, yeah, that's why I get mine.
Golden penny noodles now available in chicken flavor, jollof chicken flavor, gold meat pepper soup flavor, and jollof hot flavor nationwide. Golden penny noodles, I want what I want.
Golden penny noodles, me I just want mine. Okay. No panicking, the worry they end today. Tizeti na the packaging it cover you.
In Port Harcourt City, Tizeti prides itself in providing low cost of unlimited internet service to residential and business users. Port Harcourt residents can now browse, stream, and game 24/7 at an amazing speed and uncapped data plan. Connect to Tizeti Fast unlimited internet service for just
All right, thank you for staying tuned. You're still listening to Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info. I'm Kaladakuru Batubo, and I've got Ignatius Chukwu, original editor, Business Day, with me in the studio. And we've been talking about the back and forth between CBN and Daily Trust. In summary, what we've been talking about is the valuation or devaluation of the Naira. And we've been painting a scary picture. Unfortunately, we can't do otherwise, but then again, it's so that you can become really economically conscious. All right, so back to you, Mr. Ignatius Chukwu. You were talking about manufacturers and the different windows, and you were talking about off air. You were telling me that there are certain reasons why the previous governments put the several windows. And if we have not, just like subsidy, if we have not put in the measures, then it means that we are throwing ourselves into a big pit. Is that what it is?
Yes, I'm saying that any proper analyst or capital analyst will say having one window is good, but you must go and tighten the knots that led to the window differentiation. Where were there so many windows? All of us clapped hands here some 3 years ago. It was a vice president then. It was during his own time when the president was away and sick that Osimba just said, look, there was crisis. The children were, the dollar was rising so fast that people would bring trucks of Naira to pay school fees for their children abroad. So due to outcry, a window was created for them. It's okay. If it's for school fees, you bring all the evidence at your bank. So they were allocating every week. They were allocating some money to the bank.
So that was like a subsidy for the foreign exchange.
Pure subsidy. So it calmed nerves. Students that were about to be thrown out. Parents were selling buildings to pay at exorbitant rates. So I'm trying to say that we all celebrated it in Nigeria here, that they provided a soft landing for those in school abroad and those going for medicals. Give them softer rate so that they could afford to pay, right? The manufacturers made a case, and that's what the one I was mentioning to you, that before, when after came,
that's the
African free trade zone, where Africa decided to have a common market, and there will be no boundary. So goods will now pass from one country to the other. When the federal government wasn't allowed, the federal government of Nigeria was not allowed to sign. Manufacturers went to them and said, if you sign this thing, countries will dump Nigeria. Everybody has been eyeing the Nigerian big market.
Yeah.
This signature is suicide, because everybody will dump you out of existence. So the federal government didn't sign, and they said, okay, before we sign, let us put in place 1, 2, 3 things so that our own manufacturers can also compete in Africa.
Is that why they closed the borders?
All of those things were many packages, measures, policies were made to help manufacturers. I mean, get some strong leg, because you don't go into Africa and go as you know that in some African countries their economies are totally being run by foreign countries. While the nationalistic Nigerian economy is the one where, remember during Mauritania, we were the first to nationalize things, to say you can't do this, you can't do that. So what we are saying, that the Nigerian market is heavily protected. So because there are economies out there in Africa that don't have anything, they will manufacture from anywhere in Asia, in Europe, bring it with their label, and bring it and use it to penetrate those other markets, like Nigerian markets that are heavy, they cannot penetrate. So certain measures were then. So then the manufacturers were given a particular forex rate, and all other those who are going on pilgrimage, they are going to worship their God now. They don't give them too expensive. So these windows also provide opportunity for rackets and abuse, just like also fuel subsidy. So if that's the case, what I'm trying to say, that by the time you are about to merge all the windows to one window, being one single rate, you and your economic planners would have looked at each window. Why was it created? What do we do that when we merge it, that particular people will not suffer too much?
Now, I see what you've said. Subsidy, yet again the recurring term, and it was put for a particular or for many
reasons,
good reasons. However, how has it affected or influenced the Nigerian economy? That's one big question, because we tend to look at these very few sets and say, okay, let's open the window. Not everybody is studying abroad. Not everybody is a manufacturer. Not everybody is going for pilgrimage. So, when you look at the bigger picture, creating all of these windows from an economic perspective, is it the right thing to do?
That's a problem. What we are saying is to create them has a reason, and to close it will have a reason. Whichever one you want to do, I am asking, have you now properly ironed out, honed the policy so that there will be no crash in the area you want to.
This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking. So if we get it to 631 or even 750 as it is in the black market, everybody who has anything to do with foreign exchange will pay the true market value. Now, it will now make a lot of people focus inward. So people who want to send their children abroad to study would either think of private universities or public universities, thereby improving the economy one way or the other. People who are manufacturers would manufacture. All it means is that you and I would have to buy those things at a higher cost, because cost of production will increase. For those who want to go to pilgrimage, serve your God inside Nigeria. Don't you think so?
No, as an analyst, we try not to take sides.
Okay.
What we do is to open the parcel so well that you see all the facts and you make your decisions.
Okay.
So I'm only drawing attention that by the time before they rolled out the policy of giving windows, they had reason. Before you close it as well, also you properly close it well, so that you don't close it in a way that it will cause you more harm than good. As we were saying, if manufacturers made the biggest case, how did South Korea overtake the world, become the biggest exporter of things? They decided to put all the manufacturers on one scale and say, look, we will give you ABC incentives. If we push so dollar to you or forex to you at subsidized rate, look at our target per every quarter. You must manufacture from this to it, because if you manufacture and sell abroad, right, you earn foreign exchange. So we gave you cheap foreign exchange. You use it to manufacture goods. The goods went and fetched us very big foreign exchange. So what we lost in part A, we gain it back in part B. That was how South Korea fought their own and won.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is not always that is a foolish act if you give, but if you give. But in South Korea, they had meetings where the president was the chairman of each meeting. Hey, you, Cadbury, we gave you $100 million as subsidized rate by 3 months. Where is evidence that you produce what we agreed? So, but if you give and go to sleep, who told you that they used the $100 million to actually import raw materials? So you see, you can do round tripping, which is what the complaint that's happening in Nigeria. You use this window to get it and sell it in another window. For doing nothing, you are a bloody rich man, because you have connections to get from window A at cheap rate and sell it in window B.
That's
the
black market.
And you didn't add value in the economy. Why the real sense was that by getting it cheap, you added value to the economy, the money returns with double gain to us. So every policy, every theory that works well in other countries, when it gets to your Nigeria, then it becomes a bad policy.
Now, when you were younger, I hear that the dollar to the naira was, naira had good value when it was, in the foreign market, in the international market. How did we get so bad?
Please don't go there.
No. Let's understand. Let's understand.
2 weeks. Whenever they say they devalue naira, I tell them they are not devaluing naira. This naira you see, if you keep it on this table and flog it from morning to evening, naira doesn't cry. Anytime there is a devaluation, what we are devaluing is our lives. It means that the price, the rate, your survival rate, the cost of surviving is going to be higher. So it simply means on those days, the policy after independence was import substitution manufacturing policy. That means bring all the samples of what we used to import, bring all of them to this room, one. Then we now say, okay, what do we do to manufacture each in Nigeria? And that was why you could see that tires were being manufactured in Nigeria. Everything was manufactured in Nigeria. Everything made in Nigeria. Because there was always one company. Problem was that each company was owned by government.
Oh.
So policy was good, but implementation was that it was not done as a PPP. It was okay. Government will own so percent, you own so percent. After so time, you alone will own it up. I hope you know about. I hope you know that Indorama is now owned by government. Still has share.
Yeah, shares. Yeah, private.
But you see that the control, the policies, the actions are made by the private sector.
So why can't we have that import manufacturer substitute policy? I mean, not by government now, but by public-private partnership.
You see, when we are taking over governments in Nigeria, when you people are voting, what you look for during your voting is not what I look for. Why Nigerians will care and they will deceive us? Why they will check who is a member of my church, who is a member of my tribe, who is a member of my secondary school and the university? If they appoint your schoolmate something now, you will see you yourself they didn't appoint you.
But you'll be very happy.
You will get up to 100 calls this evening. Here say our head boy, they don't appoint them. Come, make we go congratulate them. What do you? I've been telling them that can't they put my name and they appoint me something? After 1 week they cancel them. The gift they used to give those people for that 1 week. Let me get it. After you, they say no, they didn't mean Mr. Chukwu. All the gifts have already come in. So what I mean, why do we do so? because of that next of kin relationship in this. If anybody is coming as president of Nigeria, what I and people like me look for, what could be his view on this studio? We release 8 areas the president must address us on. For the candidates must address us on 8 areas, and the number 1 was fuel subsidy. Remember all those my 8 barometers? We are still on number 1. No? Only when number 1 is shaking us. We are just entering number 2, which is forex. We never even begin near a tariff, electricity tariff. We never near those ones. We have not come to appropriate minimum wage. These are the 8. There are many 8.
So now you've just raised the point. You've just said petrol subsidies shaking the country. Is this the right time for us to devalue the Naira? I mean, whether CBN CBN says they have not, or even though in that statement, if you read it, it's going to still happen in the nearest future. And it might also be happening just like NMPC came out and said 511, even if the federal government says it has not removed subsidy. Now, the question then is this the right time? Given petrol subsidies, hitting very hard, people are crying, transportation is high, food prices are soaring. If we now get foreign exchange increasing, is the inflation not going to get to almost 30-something, 40-something%?
There are items that have direct, some things have direct and indirect. There are items that have direct impact on basic commodities. Number 1 is fuel. Number 2 is foreign exchange. Number 3 is tariff, electricity tariff. These ones have direct. If you increase them now, the repercussion is now repercussion. It doesn't wait for next week. Now, you cannot see that while some of us are saying removing subsidy, to me, I had been campaigning for removal of subsidy since 2011. And I support removal of subsidy. Even as they removed it in a shabby way, I still support it. Instead of not removing it at all, let us remove it in a foolish way. But what we are saying is that if you are now the father of the house and you know that you want to remove eating of meat on Sunday, it will be followed by removal of bread and milk. You know that you have to stagger it, because if you allow all of them to happen the same day, your children may lose heart. So what we are saying is that communicating these policies, they look to me like policies that needed Federal Executive Council to sit over, because several persons in the government will manage several sectors for you in any of them. If you say you're removing your subsidies going, several sectors, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, you know that they will have to do work, humanitarian affairs, because the number of people moving to the poverty from moving into the poverty class will be more.
You mean more than the 133?
So if you remove, anytime you touch something, number of the poor will increase. So you see that a ministry will look into all of that. Several other things. Your commission, your ministers that are looking into petroleum will have a lot of work to do. So we are saying that if the Federal Executive Council had been formed, they now meet and share responsibility to say, when this trouble starts, you manage this area, you manage this area, you are in charge of labor, you and labor discuss this, you and the energy, gas, this. Are there things to do to cushion it? If there are palliatives, so look at how it will come. How much do we put for value? What do we gain when we remove subsidy? What can we plow back to reduce this thing? When you do it now, the Naira or the exchange rate, that one will also hit. When will it come? Does it come at the same time, or do we give some gap? You think through. They say you think through a policy. You think through with your experts. You cannot do it alone. No one man knows everything. All right. So by the time you think through it, and then when you come out, you see that whatever problem is coming, you had an answer for it. But if it comes by, if the policy comes out conversational policy communication is dangerous. You are gossiping with your wife. I don't know what I have half a minute. I was staying with a relation. Somebody there was an apprentice that was about to be due. I was coming into the parlor. I overheard before getting to the house that where the wife was telling the husband, not to make sure that he will not settle them. And the husband was reassuring her that they will all leave my house without any benefit. I tiptoed back, and now I returned as if I didn't hear anything. I ran and went and told the affected people, say, there is a decision in the house that I no go get anything when going. I understand. If you don't take time, you communicate policy by accident without preparing very well. So I am saying the regulation, all these things are okay. Devaluation, they are okay. Subsidies are okay, but let them be properly planned for and properly communicated.
All right, let's open the phone lines. We've got a few minutes left. I like talking with Ignatius Chukwu. I mean, I learn a lot. But hey, what we have been talking about, the summary is the government has been subsidizing foreign currencies to the Naira, right? So the Naira to the pound, to the dollar, to the any foreign currency has been subsidized, or the government had been subsidizing it. And now it's looking like the government is removing subsidy there too.
Yeah.
By just indirect communication, or how did you put it?
Conversational communication.
Conversational communication. So I like to put it like this: through the back door.
Yeah. Just
like we removed subsidy for petrol through the back door. So what it means is, inaugural speech was given and certain sectors are shaking, vibrating, and it's now reverberating to you and I. Is this the right time for us to remove subsidy in the foreign exchange sector? Is this the right time? I mean, you must have learned a thing or two, given the fact that prices have gone up. Inflation is bound to go up as well. I mean, with just petrol subsidy removal, inflation in my calculation should be going up to 25, 27, 28%. But now when you remove foreign exchange subsidy, I put it that way. I'm the one putting it that way. That's not what it's called. But when you remove foreign exchange subsidy, it means that inflation is bound to go to 35%, my calculation. Why am I saying so? Like he said, manufacturers will now be, producing, local cost of production will go up because they will now source for raw materials from outside more expensively. A lot of people will be affected by it. Importation becomes very rigorous economically. So, I mean, you get the gist, right? You're getting the picture I'm painting. With all of this, 133 million people living in abject poverty. Inflation currently, not yet escalated, 22.04%. Unemployment, the forecast is 43% this year, 47% next year, according to Business Day, by the way. So when you look at all of this, is this the right... I'm not a prophet of doom. But hey, I'm here to awaken your consciousness. Is this the right time? I don't know what Mr. Chukwu does to me, but I always get economically gingered when it comes to the studio. But the numbers to call 0817 923 0002. Once again, 02002. You can also use the other number 0817 9230003. You just live on Facebook. The live streams there. CN versus Daily Trust. The value of the Naira. That's what we're talking about. And the question is this the right time? Is this the right time? On WhatsApp, text message portal, use the same number 0809 030 6416. Oh my God. Benefits on both sides, the analyst said for keeping the different windows, there is a benefit. Removing it, there is a benefit. But which side are you on? Because I am confused myself. But I've got James calling from Maguire. So let's take James's call. Hello, James. Oh, Dr. Dennis, I'm sorry about that. Dr. Dennis, I guess we could hear you clearly. Welcome on the show. What's on your mind? What's on your message?
What I want to say is that the timing of removal of the subsidy and the way the citizens spoke about it really has, ruling the country is something that you have to do with heart and wisdom. And that perfect, if you talk about subsidy and price rises and all that, inflation rate, Seems nobody is managing this economy. It is written in the books of economists, states where it participates in business among the individuals and other investors, which drives down food prices by storage by government. That now is in the market, we call the faster system.
Yes.
We studied this in economics, and I don't know why the leadership seems to not know that there are these methods to drive down prices. Even the dollar too. You now encourage home industry, what they call protectionism.
Oh, my goodness.
It is written in books, even OL contain it.
But Dennis,
the people who studied are not empowered.
Dennis,
it is sad that if
can
you
you
go to London today, the local government provides those red buses you see. Local government. It is easy. You go to China, the same thing. You go to India, the same thing. Why can't they use our money? Our money. If you bring out 1 billion, it will give you about 71 buses. If you divide 1 billion by 14 million, the cost of this 90-seater bus, you have good transport system, even if people have to pay. You understand? Then you now talk about industrialization. If you urge every Nigerian rich man to plow back whether stolen or earned, into the economy, there will be industries here and there producing goods and services that people can now walk into one place or the other, and they get jobs. The youth will not be unemployed.
All right, Dennis, I've got to let you go. I've got to let you go at this point.
So
thank you very much.
It's really terrible that we have a society running like a rudderless ship, running like a vehicle without brakes, going downhill or down slope.
All right, thank you very much, Dennis. I was going to tell him what you said about the different theories working elsewhere, not working here, but I've got Odima calling from Aba Road. Odima, greetings to you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Greeting to your guest.
Thank
It's
you
always
very much.
delightful to listen to him each time he comes to the station.
All right, so quickly, let's hear you. We're out of
And
time.
I have learned a lot. All I want to say is that the reason why we are where we are, just like your guest has said, the people we have at the helm of our fear, they don't have anything to offer. Just like, if you look at the way your guest is detailing everything precept by precept. During the campaign, remember Bola Tinubu went to Satan House, couldn't say anything. He was delegating people to speak for him. So what do you expect to get from that kind of person?
All right, then.
The problem, the reason why we are where we are, and we continue as long as this set of people continue to be in power, because as it stands today, they will continue to be in power.
All right, then.
There's nothing anybody can do.
All right. Thank you.
You saw what happened in 2023. So it's a pity, it's a shame.
All right, thank you very much.
And it's a very big problem that we, the people, we are not reacting to all the things.
All right. Thank you, Odima. We've got a commercial break, and so we've got to step on the brakes right now. But thank you once again for coming into the studio. Someone is asking, you say if we remove the windows, it is good to some extent. If you remove it, it's good to some extent. So which do we take? Now that's the question. That's the mind-boggling question.
Yes, it is.
All right, but that's too much. Thank you very much, Ignatius Chukwu, regional editor, Business Day, for coming through.
Thank you very much.
All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back.